time. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mia Hall TV, and you are tuned into another episode of Brown Girls Glow Live, a show where we come to you weekly to share insights, information, of course, tools and tips with teenage girls, right? I sometimes talk about how I went from the hood to Harvard, and I want to let young girls know that they can accomplish their biggest goals, their biggest dreams, if they just believe. I also invite other women to come and talk about their lives, their careers, their ups, their downs, their triumphs, and their trials. So stay tuned, and we are going to talk about Parables from the Project Productions. So today is Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. We are celebrating freedom not only today, but of course, every day. And I don't just say that, lightly. I'm very interested in history. Of course, went to a historically black college and university, but historically black university, Hampton University, and loved history, still do, and am very happy to be celebrating Juneteenth. Now, I will tell you and show you that I'm very happy about Juneteenth because I decided on June 19th, Juneteenth in 2019, to co-start and co-found Parables from the Projects with my dad. So June 19th, 2019 was the first day that my dad and I premiered our episode. It was first day that we made an episode live, made it public. So now we're, 6 years later, we are here. And so I'm here to just celebrate, of course. Thank you to all of our supporters that we've had over the years, and to give you updates on, where we are currently, June 19th, 2025. So I have a quick story to share first, though. So for context, for anybody that doesn't know anything about Parables from the Projects Productions, please go and check out some of our episodes. It is on Spotify. It is on Apple Podcasts. So if you want to tune in, you can tune in anytime there. We have past episodes there, and we're on Facebook as well. So tune in while you can on Facebook, because I know that Facebook is deleting old videos, but you can catch those on my YouTube page at Mia Hall TV as well. So look us up, Parables from the Projects, everywhere. So this is my story, right, of how God is amazing and how 19 is so significant. So 19 years ago, and this is why 2025 is so big, and I'm so grateful, and I really think that, every year, you all should think that every year is your year, but this year is, in particular, is special for me because 19 years ago is when we had the concept given to us by God. When I say me, I mean me and my dad, given to us by God, that we should share our story on the big screen. And we were also thinking, a book. Either way, we felt like God, was like, listen. We don't think that he talked to us audibly like this, but we felt in our heart, right? The Holy Spirit speaks to us. And we felt like, it was the Holy Spirit was leading us, and is still, 19 years later, leading us to share our story on how I went from Pink Houses Projects to be able to graduate from Harvard University. We were, just on campus, and just walking around like, man, like, can you believe where we came from and to be here, right? And also my dad grew up in Brownsville, one of the roughest neighborhoods in New York, and, probably in the country. But he was able to come out of that, you know, out of a out of prison. The last time he went to prison, he did a prison boot camp. Thankfully, he got 2 felonies, nonviolent crimes, but was able to do a boot camp. Tried to, tried to exit the boot camp, and they kept on, bringing him back. But he finished it at the top of his class, and was also able to come home and get saved. And that was on his birthday. So there are, just so many blessings that has come in our lives. He also worked with Mike Tyson for many years, and he's a big part of his story. And he's a big part of his story and history. But yes, but that is a big part of our history. So, and because you'll see this in the film, but when he came home and went to church, right after church, Mike Tyson and Uncle Uwe picked him up. So shout out to my Uncle Biz, who was a big inspiration for my dad as well. So all that to say, that's just context, right? Of how long ago we had this idea of making a film and things like that. We only started the production of the podcast about 6 years ago because we were pre-recorded episodes before we actually launched while I was living in California. But we, recorded those episodes. Then we had been working on a script, I can say, probably for 18 of those years. Like, seriously. I mean, maybe we took a screenwriting class with Gotham in probably 2008. We took the class together, and it was in Soho. Excuse me. And we submitted to Sundance Film Festival, their institute. We, over the years just had several meetings. And that's why in 2019, I said, we talk a lot. We talk a lot. We have talked to, screenwriting coaches and things like that. Why don't we put all of these talks on a podcast? So that's how we really started the podcast. But thankfully, we got a mentor to help me with a short film script. Man, when I can, just fully, say, all of my credits, I will. But, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind saying that. But yeah, I'm just very grateful. And those of you who follow me, I've probably said it before, but man, just shout out to my film mentor. So, got a film mentor. He helped me to go through a few drafts of my short film and to revise it. We did a table read. I revised it some more. And last summer, we were able to shoot the short film. All right. So fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I saw a producer that I hadn't worked with in 19 years. Now, when I knew that God was telling me to, do a film, I said, let me explore film. So I went on Craigslist. I looked for a film internship. This film internship was for a movie called Brooklyn to Manhattan. It's not online anymore. You would have to look it up by the director, who is Jesse Terrero. But I was an intern on that film for 3 months. One of the producers on that film was at this screening because he was a producer on the film that I saw 2 weeks ago at Tribeca Film Festival, A Spoonful of Chocolate. So I was like, I remember him. I remember this name. I feel like that's probably the first producer that I met, like first film producer that I met. And so I was able to speak to him, and he was like, yes, I remember the film. I was able to meet his wife. He was able to meet, they both were able to meet my mom because it was a hall thing, right? And just said the name of the person, but y'all could deduct from there. And he was like, let me see your film. Let me see your short film. Because I was like, I just shot a short film. I'm submitted it to festivals. He was like, let me see it. So shared it with him on that Monday, right? That was 2 weeks ago. But he got back to me today with actually a raving review. Like, thank God. Like, it was, he was very nice about it. And, really complimented me on my storytelling. And of course, one day I'll share more about that, but it was just a blessing. And I didn't realize, the significance of him sending me that email. He's like, sorry for the delay. I'm like, it's really not a delay. It's really just God showing me like, hey, 19 years ago, you met this producer. You had this idea. But, time, God, with one day is like 1,000 days with God, right? 1,000 years. 1,000 years. One day is like 1,000 years to God, or it could be. And 1,000 years like a day. So, God could transform 19 years in one day, right? And so that's really what he did. I was so happy to get that feedback. I shared it with my dad. He's super excited. Of course, we're going to keep on going and, sharing this film. I find out very soon if we'll be in the first film festival that I submitted this short film for. and I'll keep you all posted, of course, when we have screening dates. But yes, it's very exciting. Still, of course, promoting Glow Girl the book for all teenage girls, empowering teenage girls to grow, lead, overcome, and win. So make sure you pick that up at MiaHallTV.com, dropping August 19th, because y'all know I love 19. And yes, and please subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. I have 618 subscribers, actually. I was looking at it just now, because I'm like, of course I'm like, okay, 19, that's what I am looking at. So yep, I have 618 subscribers. If I get to 619 by the end of the evening, in the next 6 minutes, I would be a very happy camper. So, but yeah, either way, I really am thankful for the past 6 years, of course, celebrating this Parables from the Projects anniversary. I'm happy for where we have the film now. Parables from the Projects is producing others podcasts. We're consulting. We're producing Parenting Up podcast. Excited about that. And we have episode 3 of a series that we actually shot remotely, well, on site in Detroit, and that series ends tomorrow, so make sure you visit at Parenting Up for that. And I'm trying to think what else is coming up for Parables from the Projects. Yes, I mean, that's our imprint, basically, self-publishing my Glow Girl book. So Brown Girls Glow is pretty much our philanthropic arm of Parables from the Projects Productions. So make sure you follow us everywhere. We're at Parables from the Jacks on Instagram, Brown Girls Glow TV on Instagram, and Mia Hall TV on Instagram. So thank you all for tuning in tonight, and I will see you next week. And again, celebrate freedom. Happy Juneteenth. Peace.